Hi there, I'm Judy and I've been asked by the inventor to review a new type of steamer for you today. As you can see, I have the parts here separated for our hybrid steamer, and the base is an asparagus pot that we're using. It's a heavy-duty stainless steel pot, good quality pot. Inside we have a steamer basket, and this has been modified so that it's roughly half the height of the pot. It also has one handle on it, which makes it very convenient for adjusting the steamer basket. And then it also has a small hook on the side so that the steamer basket can hang from the top rim of the steamer pot. And then we have a glass lid that also has a nice little vent hole, as you can see right there, a vent hole, steamer vent. And that is basically it, just those three parts. It's very, very simple, yet very effective. Now, how do we use the steamer pot? We want to put enough water into the base of the pot so that when you lower the steamer basket in there with food in it, that food will be submerged in the water. So it could be a pound of beans of choice, or some fresh vegetables, or some frozen vegetables, whatever you choose. And then you lower that basket into the pot that has some water in it. You want to make sure that your food is submerged, and then you put the lid on it and you bring it to a boil on the stove. As soon as it comes to a boil, you raise the steamer basket and use that hook to hang it off of the side of the top rim of the pot. Put the lid back on it and adjust the temperature if you need to, so that we'll still get a lot of steam coming out of it, but it's not going to be boiling so hard that all the water is going to boil out of it in no time. And then you'll just monitor your food very closely, and when it is as tender as you want it to be, then the food is done. If you're cooking beans, then you want to monitor them closely, and after a certain period of time you can test them out by pinching them between your fingers. And when they're good and tender, then they are done. This is really easy to use, and absolutely anyone could use this steamer pot. So what are the advantages of using the hybrid steamer, especially when you're cooking beans? Nutrients. We know that boiling any type of food leaches nutrients out of that food into the cooking water or the cooking liquid, whatever it is. Beans are going to be no exception to that. And so by using the hybrid steamer, we're not actually boiling the beans, we're bringing them to a boil, bringing them up to cooking temperature, and then raising them out of that boiling water into the steam, and the steam will maintain that cooking temperature, and that will help to stop nutrients from leaching from the beans into that cooking water. So it should help to preserve the nutrients that are in them, and the vegetables as well, that you could potentially hybrid steam in the cooker. I can assure you that many people worldwide are very, very interested in nutrition. They're hungry for this information. And with my YouTube channel, I get viewers commenting and asking questions about nutrition and cooking and different foods on a regular basis, just about every single day. And this is worldwide. This is not just in the United States. And it's amazing to me how many people out there really are concerned with the nutrients that they take in, which is a very good thing. But anyway, so many people are, and the hybrid steamer can help to preserve those nutrients, especially when we're talking about beans, because there is no other cooker available that I'm aware of for cooking beans in such a way that can help to preserve the nutrients that are in there. We also can experience improved texture, appearance, and flavor of the foods that are hybrid steamed as compared to being boiled especially. Now, foods, especially beans, are usually cooked in boiling water, and even though we try not to cook them to a mush, they often get very, very soft and broken apart, and the peels come off of them. When they are hybrid steamed, that doesn't happen. They actually get nice and tender, and they will maintain their shape. There's very few that are going to be split or broken or lost in the process as compared to boiling. So they're going to maintain their texture much better and their appearance much better when they're hybrid steamed rather than being boiled. And the flavor is actually improved too for beans that have been hybrid steamed. Much, much better. Vegetables are wonderful when they are hybrid steamed. You can use fresh vegetables or frozen vegetables, and the process is really very, very simple. All you need to do is put the amount of vegetables that you want in your steamer basket, lower that down into the bottom of the hybrid steamer pot, and cover them up with water, and then bring that to a boil. As soon as it comes to a boil, you raise that basket up into the upper position where it latches on to the top rim of the pot. Cover it up, adjust your heat on the stove a little bit so that we get a nice steam, but we're not going to boil the water out of the pot too quickly. And watch them very carefully, because I have found that fresh or frozen vegetables cook very, very fast in the hybrid steamer, a lot faster than they would in a traditional steamer. I like to think of the hybrid steamer as a universal cooking pot, and I like that term, universal cooking pot. Why? Because we can use it in so many different ways. We can hybrid steam beans and vegetables. We can use it as a traditional steamer, and it's going to hold more in it than a typical collapsible type of steamer basket would. And we can also blanch foods for freezing in there by having the steamer basket in the bottom, bringing water to a boil, adding those vegetables to the boiling water, time it for our short period of time that we need to blanch them, raise the steamer basket completely out, and everything will be drained that way. And then you can take the steamer basket and put it in a bowl or another pot of ice water and chill those vegetables down really quickly. Raise that steamer basket up, allow it to drain, and then they're going to be ready to be packed away for the freezer. So it's very, very simple that way. We could use it for cooking soups and stews and pasta and stock, anything that you might need a large pot for. I believe, because of the versatility of this thing, that it's going to become like a universal pot and it eventually become a standard piece of cookware in just about every kitchen out there, because it can replace some other pots, and all these different functions can be done with the one pot. And so it eliminates a lot of clutter in your pantry or your cupboard where you store your pots and pans. And it's just like a one pot can do it all kind of thing. And I love that. I think it's fabulous. And it can be made in different sizes from a manufacturing standpoint, like the one that I have that is made from an asparagus pot. That might be appropriate for someone who's cooking for 1 or 2 people. And you could make a larger one about the size of a spaghetti pot or a traditional stock pot for families who cook more or have more people involved in them, that they're cooking for more people. Or you could have a very large one that is used by chefs in commercial kitchens who are cooking for a crowd. So I would love to see this on the market with different size options. Those 3 options would be fine to me, but it's possible that you could see more options than that. And that allows the user to pick a size that's right for them, and it opens the door to different markets. So the next question is, who is the target audience for a hybrid steamer? In my book, literally anyone and everyone who cooks. I have a few suggestions for any new manufacturer of this item from a consumer's standpoint, someone who's been using this for a little while, and things that I see that I would like to see in there that I feel are important. First of all, we need a glass lid. Why do we need a glass lid? So that when we're waiting to bring it to a boil, we can see what's going on inside of that pot. Okay, that's important. That way we're not having to lift the lid up constantly to check and see what's in there. We're letting steam out when we do that, or heat out as we do that. Another thing is we need a steam hole, steam vent, like you can see in the top of this lid here. We need that. When we're steaming something, we need a way for the steam to be able to escape, so that it doesn't build a lot of pressure up in there, and so that the lid doesn't bounce all around on top of the steamer pot. We need that little vent hole there. I find that it would be extremely helpful if a maximum water level line was etched on the inside of the pot, so that there's no guesswork involved on how much water you can actually put in there and still use it as a hybrid steamer. Another suggestion that I have, and this is absolutely ideal as far as what I'm referring to. We've got one handle coming up from the basket, and this handle can easily fold down and it will stay there. It makes it very easy to load the basket and also to unload the basket of food. I have another type of steamer pot, and it has two handles attached to the steamer pot, and those handles kind of crisscross like this. Let me show you this way. They kind of crisscross like this, and you can bring them up like this, and you can use the handles together to lift that steamer basket out of the pot. However, they have a tendency to flip inward. No matter where I put them, they tend to flip inward. That might be fine when everything is cooking, but when I want to load the food or unload the food from that steamer basket, these handles are absolutely in the way, and they're very annoying to me because they tend to flop down in that position, and it's hard to keep them upright so that I can work with the food that is in that steamer basket. So if you only have one handle that folds easily into the steamer basket like this one does, it's absolutely perfect. And the last suggestion that I really have, I've already made mention of before. I would really like to see several sizes of this on the market. If you want to go with the size of an asparagus pot, that's perfectly fine for somebody who's cooking a small amount. But for someone who's cooking more, then they will need a bigger pot than this. And if you make it roughly the size of a spaghetti pot, where it's larger in diameter but a little bit shorter in height, I believe it will be able to hold more food than this will, and it will be a little bit easier to work with in the long run. And then also, if you have a large one for the sake of commercial chefs, then they too can get into using a hybrid steamer, and I think they will appreciate the fact of all that it can do for them as well. Some final thoughts on this, just kind of to recap a few of the points. Because of the versatility of this, I really truly envision the hybrid steamer pot to eventually become a staple piece of cookware, a standard piece of cookware in just about any home kitchen. And I don't say that lightly, I truly do mean that. It enables us to cook beans and peas far better than the traditional method of just boiling them, in addition to so many other uses. And I sincerely hope that you will consider making this hybrid steamer a part of your merchandise that you offer for sale, because I think the sky's the limit on this. I really believe it will go a long way. Now, I'm going to include a couple cooking demos, or at least one if I can squeeze it into the time frame. So stay tuned, we're not finished yet. Today I'm going to hybrid steam some chickpeas that were dried. Overnight I soak them, and they have been rinsed and drained, and I do have water in the hybrid steamer that should be well below the level of the basket when everything comes to a boil. So we're going to put the chickpeas in the basket. This is a little less than a pound of them. I like to store them in a glass jar with an oxygen absorber, and this was a pint-size jar that was full. So I'm not sure weight-wise, but a little less than a pound. Okay. So we're going to lower the basket. And yay, they're all covered with the water. And I'm going to put the lid on it, and we're going to turn it on and bring it to a boil. And I will keep you posted along the way. We've got some foams starting, and we are boiling. So we're going to raise this up. And I'm going to turn the stove down just a little bit to maintain the boil, but not have it boil so hard that we lose all of our water. So I've turned it down just a little more than medium. It's on number 6 there. And so I'm going to hit a timer, and we're just going to time and see how long it takes for these to cook to a nice tender degree, and then we'll let you know what it looks like. I adjusted the stove down just a little bit more. It's right on number 5, medium, and everything is steaming very, very well. And you can see we don't have any bubbling up on the side of the water or anything like that. And it's just going to continue to cook like that. They look perfect. Okay, I am going to call these done. Pot is almost out of water, but not quite. They have cooked for 1 hour and 23 minutes. And I'm going to show you one, if I can do this over that. Smash between my fingers. Nicely soft, nicely soft. And they're not mushy. So now I'm going to take them out, and I'm going to put this on them on the tray so that you can see them. And I'm going to let some of that steam come off of them. You can see that there's still water in the pot. So we could have gone a little bit longer, but they're done as far as I'm concerned. I don't like them to be a mush, and they are perfect. You can see that they are intact. We don't have any that have mushed out, cracked, split. The skins are not loose, yet they are cooked. I tasted one, and it's perfect as far as I'm concerned. So I'm letting the steam come off of them, and that'll help to dry the outer edge of the chickpeas a little bit more, and so that when I pack them in a freezer bag, they're not going to freeze into one giant clump. They're going to be really easy to remove from the bag, and to me they're absolutely perfect this way. Far better than boiling them, and the flavor is better. It's a little more intense of a chickpea flavor. It's not waterlogged. So I wanted you to see that how they come out. They're just perfectly wonderful this way. So I'm just going to let them cool off just a little bit and pack them up and put them in the freezer. And I eat these every day on a lunchtime salad, and they are yummy. Now we're going to hybrid steam some fresh broccoli that I have cut up, and hopefully you can see here the florets are not real small. I'll call them medium size, and then I did use some of the stems, and they're cut relatively small but not overly thin, just small. And so we've got some water in the pot, enough so that it should do the job well, but not so much that it's going to bubble out. And we're going to just submerge these directly in the water, and you can see that they do tend to float. Oh well, that's the way that goes. And no matter how much water I put in there, they're going to float. So we're going to just call it. I know that there's enough, and I'm going to put it on high to bring it to a boil. And as soon as it comes to a boil, we're going to raise the steamer basket and turn the heat down on the stove some so that we can maintain the boil in the water but not boil it all dry. They will not take very long to cook at all. Our water is just coming to a boil and we're starting to get some steam generated. So I am going to raise the basket into the steaming position, put the lid on. I'm going to set a timer. And we're going to go all of 1.5 minutes, and we're going to check this out. All right, we have hit the 1.5 minute mark, and I'm going to pull it out for just a moment, and we're going to test this. To me, they look wonderful. They are still just a tiny bit firm. And you can see the water is boiling very well. Pull one stem out. It's got a nice crispness to it. I'm going to let it go for 30 seconds more. And I think it'll be perfectly fine at that point, 2 minutes. I cooked some medium-sized fresh cauliflower florets in here, and it took steaming 2.5 minutes for them to be absolutely perfect. So it's obvious that once you bring everything to temperature, to boiling temperature in the water and then raise it, it takes far less time to steam something to a nice fork tender, crisp tenderness, far less time than it would with standard steaming, and the texture is far better than if they were boiled, even stir steamed or water sauteed, something like that. I think they come out a little bit better this way. All right, I am going to call them done. Hopefully you can see the final product. The color is bright green. It's kind of like they've been blanched. You could go a little more if you wanted to, but you can cook them as tender as you like. But I like it like this. They are nicely cooked and they're not going to be soggy and mushy. There is no sulfury smell to them. And so we're calling it done. Now, in case you're not familiar with who I am, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself so you understand that I'm not a novice in the kitchen. First of all, I started cooking for my family when I was in elementary school. That puts it almost 60 years ago. No kidding, folks. And from there, throughout my years, I studied health and wellness and food and nutrition in any way I possibly could throughout my life, starting in elementary school. From there, I went on to earn a bachelor's degree in food and nutrition and then a master's degree in nutrition from a division of the Chicago Medical School. From there, I taught nutrition and related courses to college students. A lot of them were nursing students. And then from there, when we left that, my husband wanted to recreate a business like we had many years before, so we bought and refurbished a very old commercial building in downtown Cherokee, Iowa. And on the main floor, we built a commercial kitchen, and I ran and operated my own bakery, bistro, and kitchen supply store. Yes, it was a very big building. All the food I made was all from scratch, and I did the cooking myself. When we retired from there, I started my YouTube channel, Judi in the Kitchen, and I have a large library of food-related videos, and sometimes I do some review of some products on there as well. And to date, I have uploaded well over 1,400 videos. So it's a free online library for people to enjoy and get a lot of information about food and cooking that helps them out. So as you can see, I am far from being a novice in the kitchen, and when I say that I truly enjoy the hybrid steamer, I'm not joking. I really do mean that, and I hope you will seriously considering it making part of your product line. Take care and bye for now.